So it's not as though they don't have any leadership in the game whatsoever, but not having the team captain, the player who put the team together in the first place, could be problematic for a team like the Nightwolves.
Yeah, it looks like we're off here. Starting off just looking at red defense. Choowie running Pyro, which is good for them. Impose is Assassin, and I think I missed their ninjas. They're already gone. But Brandino be on Archer, which is an interesting matchup, presumably against Rizaragon.
Well, already F1 Brown is on Assassin here, and took out Choowie Force's medic on the way in. Bit of a surprise there. However, we do have Pedro approaching the flag room, getting some damage off onto G. Henry, and that's going to briefly allow a steal from Duckstand. However, Henry is going to follow up with 2 quick frenzy kills and clean things up quite nicely. Henry, of course, being the first pick of the tournament from Bar 1234 and a Pyro player who's very highly valued. Choowie, of course, would have been a competitor for that top pick of the tournament if he was not a captain himself. He's also known to be quite a strong Pyro. So both of these teams having the same core strength in the flag rim defense will be interesting to see which Pyro ends up performing better today.
Yeah, and I would almost say that they've got pretty much the same Archer power as well. So 2 very important defense classes pretty much matching up in terms of skill on both sides. So offense will be very important in this match.
Yes, of course. Now, we do have a steal here from Pedro getting out on Chemist. He has escaped the flag room now and briefly avoids a web as well. Looks like Lou, or Yuji is God, is going to be playing on the medic here. He's fairly low himself, but is there to support Pedro. G. Henry is going to be catching up now on Pyro, but is not able to get in front. Looks like Pedro's really not taking a lot of knockback there and doesn't manage to be knocked off the side. It's continuing to take relatively little there from Versions and Mackie as they try and get on the way. A revival tag is popped on Versions, but Pedro is still motoring his way forward and will be taking a very quick first capture here in this matchup. Choowie Force already asserting their dominance here on Forest of Rivals.
Yeah, a lot of good, strong support coming in for that capture and securing it for them. First cap.
Yeah, now we do see the roaming here get out a bit onto the offense of Choowie Force, and again the medic goes down early, this time a headshot from Kev doing the trick. But the rest of the offense still is likely going to go for a steal here. We do see Spades here, who we might have expected to be on both defense, but is instead playing the soldier on offense, get out of the flag room using his PvP abilities. That's going to lead to a backup steal from Duxfan. He's going up the back of the map, but is being contested pretty hard here by Haha Get Lost, also known as Wolfskippy. Dux is going to try an alternate XC here. Looks like F1 Brown is waiting underneath him, but he does get the block off. Medic is going to be closing here as well, and Inpost has roamed up to support on Assassin. Duxfan is quite low here, only on half a heart, and will go down, but already the support here from Choowie Force is a good sign for their offense. Nin did briefly get a medic steal, I believe, on the other side, but will not get too far. Looks like the offense here for the side of Nightwolves is regrouping, and we do have a bit of an interesting core here. It's a Necro, Chemist, and Medic playing together to cross the map, although there is a lot of space between Nin and the rest of his support here. They're slowing down for him. Looks like Inpost is going to go after Danimals here, but will not be able to do the trick. However, Nin does get jumped on as his support basically leaves him behind here. Looks like there's a bit of a disconnect here on the offense for Nightwolves as certain players are slowing down to deal with roaming, other players are running forward. It's all a bit wonky right now.
Yeah, it looks like Choowie Force is doing a really good job of staggering their offense, making sure that they're all not getting in together. That Medic and Necro being stalled outside for the whole time, pretty much, and not being able to get in.
And now Fella001 is also facing a lot of roaming pressure here at mid, having a hard time making it over to the flag building, although it looks like he'll make it up eventually. Fella, of course, being a relatively strong soldier capper from the Roxorseas, a potentially surprising early round pick from Bar 1234, and as of right now, he does seem a little out of sync with the rest of his team's offense. He's just waiting above the flag building. On the other side, though, Pedro has already gotten out of the flag room again. Looks like he does have a lot of roaming on him, and G. Henry has caught up, but he's using the strength of Chemist, which is its speed and mobility, as well as its large health pool, to stay alive. Looks like right now Pedro has done a good job of avoiding the roaming for long enough to get a medic over. He does have a restore, and already this looks like it could be a second capture here without some heroics from the side of the Nightwolves. He does get web there briefly, is able to break out of the web, and looks like he'll be walking this in for a 2-0 lead.
It's nicely done. Both medics for the Nightwolves there doing a good job of delaying, but nobody there to really recover off Pedro there.
Yeah, and again, we are seeing Choowie Force control mid a bit here. Most of their offense was actually just able to walk right through the mid structure, and Imposed is playing fairly far up there as well to try and get in the way of the offense. Now, it seems she's the only one who's really spotted out the fact that the offense there from Nightwolves was using the underground tunnel to get closer to the flag room, but she will still get an assassinate before that offense goes in. Looks like Snowbreak and Fella are trying to drop into the flag, but before they get a chance, Duxfan has a big steal on the other side. He does try to drop it for a pass, looks like he's quite low, and is trying to make his way over to Lou bit. He does get frenzied by G. Henry, and Pedro's not quite able to pick it up. On the other side of things, it looks like the steal went nowhere, and Choowie was able to stop the offense.
Yeah, I think what you were saying about controlling mid is incredibly important here, and it looks like Kev has actually notified that. Brandino and Kev were battling quite early on for bottom mid, and now, and then Kev, decided to go on top of the flag room instead, conceding to Brandino, and now they're fighting it out again, in trying to control mid as much as they can.
Now, Snowbreak is out towards mid here. He did whiff his water element into the flag room, but still managed to get the steal. Fellow went in early, providing a little bit of a bait, but was not able to get out himself. He does get trapped in the water here, but Ninsanity is there as the medic. He does have regen off, but not a restore yet. And actually, a very nice headshot from Brandino is able to catch him before he gets out of the water. That was actually a very threatening steal there from the side of the Nightwolves, though, making it most of the way across the map without a lot of the recovery defense there from Choowie Force able to stop anything, for that matter.
Yeah, unfortunate that Snow didn't manage to spot that Archer arrow, but very well done from Brandino. There's a lot of pressure on there. Identified that and got the shot in.
Now, outside of Imposed, it is interesting to note that Choowie Force does have two very strong roaming ninjas here, although not from teams that are especially known for having strong roaming ninjas. Those, of course, being DTJ and Kavivi from, well, DTJ was playing for Delta Force, like a lot of the members of Choowie Force, hence the name. But Kavivi, I'm not sure where he's landed, actually, after leaving Ethereal.
I believe he's still at the Rock Circes. I think he's gone back to the Rock Circes quite recently.
Of course, of course. Either way, not a traditionally strong team, but Kavivi is a very, very highly rated player on that roster. Excuse me. Spades does have a steal on the other side, is being chased down by Mackie, who is playing the flag room medic as of right now, alongside Versions. Versions does go down, and it looks like Lou has almost made his way over to Spades here on the soldier, but does get knocked off the map. Imposed roams up to try and assassinate as well, but a nice headshot from well, looked like a headshot from Kev, but in fact it's just damage from Versions that gets the claim on Spades here. Pedro is trying to go out middle, but gets run right into by G. Henry, who finishes off with a very quick frenzy. And just like that, we're back to a lull state. We're almost 9 minutes into the game here, and Choowie Force is up 2-0.
Yeah, definitely not something you want to see on a back steal, running straight into G. Henry. Bit of a terrifying sight.
Now, we are going to see the offense from Choowie Force make its way over here again. Looks like there's not a lot of support here for Lou as he's being pressured by both the Ninja and the Assassin. However, as we've seen with Delta Force before, they don't necessarily need the medic to stay alive the whole time if they get a lengthy Chemist steal. And guess what happens? Pedro is out of the flag room despite the frenzy again as Chemist ahead of the recovery, and this time he does actually have Lou right there to provide support. The frenzy does get off, but Pedro is surviving and so far has been hit pretty far forward. Now he's crossing the middle of the map where Obi has roamed up to support his route, and it looks like, oh no, nice headshot from Kevin. The flag is picked up by Impost. Impost will walk it in as Assassin, getting the flashy little Assassin cap, but very nearly a recovery there based on a nice last minute headshot from Kev.
Yeah, pull through at the last second, but unfortunate no one there to pick it up. But yeah, looking very strong for Choowie Force so far. I've been looking in the chat. Sorry, and sorry, I've just noticed that Danimals has actually been complaining quite a lot about getting headshot by Brandino. So it looks like Brandino's causing a lot of trouble for them.
Yeah, I mean, Brandino's definitely playing a more aggressive position there, roaming under the mid structure the way a lot of strong archers like to play when they feel they can control the matchup. Kev's playing much further back and actually boosts Spades forward here with a punch shot, but actually cleans up his own mistake and gets a nice little headshot on Spades. Spades perhaps not doing enough there to vary his movement and make Kev's shot difficult.
Yeah, interesting small change up for the Nightwolves defense here. See Haha get lost now on Heavy instead of Ninja, leaving versions to solo Ninja across the map.
It's an interesting choice, especially considering that Choowie Force's offense is still running 2 soldiers, but perhaps he feels that with buffs or with the additional survivability of Heavy, he'll be better able to get onto the medic and some of the other players there. Looks like right now he's trading out with Duxfan, but Duxfan actually getting much better, being much better in that exchange. Looks like Dux will get a steal, but gets frenzied, will go down. Spades, however, does not get set on fire and is out of the flag room. Kev looks to be stalling him here as he tries to go out the left side again. Diana roaming up once the seal happens, as she is wont to do, but doesn't actually manage to do all that much on Assassin and gets taken down, as does Spades, with G. Henry cleaning up his previous mistake. On the other side, we do have a steal from Nin, this time on Soldier. He's swapped off and given the medic role to Fella. Looks like there will be a recovery, although the ninjas were not immediately aware of where the flag was. So interesting little adaptation there from Nightwolves, putting Nin on the Soldier and giving Fella the medic role. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I'm not too sure how that's going to play out. Like, Nin has been practicing quite a bit on the Soldier off, but I would still argue that he's the stronger med off in the game, full stop. So I don't know how to feel. I feel like Nin is pretty good at surviving by himself as med, whereas I feel like Fella might end up getting taken down, though he does have a lot of support with him. But yeah, I would, if I were on Nin's team, I would want to keep Nin on medic. But we'll see how it plays.
Kev did win a nice duel there on Archer briefly, although he was just taken down after Obi was pressuring him in the middle of a 1v1 with Brandino. Duxfan does get out, but gets frenzied by G. Henry. However, we will see Pedro try to go for the flag here. Ninsanity actually roams over from offense to slow him down initially and prevent the immediate steal, and that's going to lead to Pedro taking a lot more damage here. He will still get out and get set on fire, but he's not really going anywhere. He's on half a heart and will go down, despite Kavivi's best attempts with the roam up to support.
Yeah, I think interestingly for Choowie Force, they've been getting in quite well altogether, rather than being staggered out like we've been seeing on the other side of things. I think this might also be coming in from Kev's position on top of flag. It's not actually the easiest place to play as an archer on Forest of Rivals. What do you think of that as another archer main?
Well, I think it's the safest place to play, in fairness, when you're playing on top of the flag building. Where Kev's playing right now shows a little more confidence in your team's ability to control middle and support there, because you are just going to have better angles than you would on top of the flag building. Obviously, the danger of playing where Kev is right now is that he's much more vulnerable to roaming as well as to the other archer, and what do you know? Brandino starts shooting at him, gets the kill, and is able to establish control of mid just like that. The other thing we've been seeing, though, in this matchup is that Brandino's been getting a lot more support, in particular from Obi, who's been roaming up to mid and getting in the middle of the archer matchup when he's not looking after the other team's offense.
Yeah, it definitely feels like Brandino's having quite a good game here on Forest of Rivals.
Yeah, and already the roaming from Choowie Force is doing a lot of work here. Danimals is surviving with Necro's immense health pool, but is eventually taken down by Brandino in the middle of the fight. However, by that point in time, by the point where he was headshotted, the rest of his offense was gone.
Yeah, again, he continues to be complaining about getting headshot in chat. Obviously, they might just need to start sending someone just to pressure Archer, maybe roam up a Ninja, because that seems to be really stopping their offense. Kev can't do it all by himself.
Yeah, this time around, though, Kev does get the headshot, but I think the bigger problem here is that they're really having trouble keeping the rest of their offense alive against the roaming. Now, Fella's been isolated by Kavivi and Obi, and he will go down, and it looks like that's just that for the Night Wolves' offense. They're really struggling to get across the map, and it can be very difficult here on Forest of Rivals to make it over to the flag room if you don't have a PvP advantage against the defense, or if you don't have control of the map yourself. Now, we do have a steal here from DucksFan, making it up to the top of the flag room. He does have support there from Lou, who does get knocked away from Ducks briefly by Versions, while Wolves is chasing down the soldier. However, Lou's going to make his way back over, and the support for DucksFan continues. G. Henry is taken down by Pedro, who roams over to protect. However, the damage from Wolves is able to actually take out DucksFan before the restore can come off, and Pedro is caught in the water. The shots are just missing from Kev, but I don't think he's going to whiff much longer. Pedro knocked past the water, though, and the archer is not actually able to catch him. A really unfortunate set boost there, I think, as well. Got Pedro past the worst of the water there without too much trouble, and he's just going to get over to the flagpole and give Choowie Force a 4-0 lead. Good initial steal from DucksFan, converted on by the Chemist.
Yeah, good support coming in. Unfortunate little boost there on the lily pads. I feel like Kev had that lined up, but then he got boosted out of the shot there.
Yeah, now Snowbreak is going to be caught here on the outside of the flag room by Kavivi, but after losing some health, will be taken out. Looks like he doesn't want to burn his main health pots, but he may have to since Kavivi is right back on top of him. Actually avoided doing so there again. Looks like Snowbreak is really just waiting in this position, trying to find an opportunity here. Will eventually go down, though, as Kavivi gets him the third time. The rest of his offense definitely struggling to get across mid. And I think this is honestly a weakness of what's being done by the Night Wolves here. Seems like their goal is to really be able to support the medic across the map with the Necro, with the Chemist, but they're really not doing that as a core. Now, we do have a steal from Spades here. Spades already to the middle of the map as Soldier does get taken out by Kev, but DTJ picks it up on Ninja. DTJ already relatively low health, but does manage to make it over to the flag room with the regen he got from the Chemist. And that will be that. A crushing 5-0 defeat on map 1. Choowie Force taking the lead and potentially giving us, if they keep this up, the first 2-0 win of the group stage. Of course, the Night Wolves will have an opportunity to turn things around on their map pick and take us to a map 3.
Seems like quite a few of the players from the Night Wolves have accidentally clicked the Ender Eye there and have left the server, but I'm sure they'll be able to join back soon.
Yes, of course. We do fortunately have the additional map command working for this tournament, as was the case in our previous match, and it looks like that will be the strategy here, so we won't be leaving this match server.
It'll be interesting to see what the Night Wolves choose to pick. I saw a bit of chat about Pagodas. We'll see when we get the official go-ahead for which map they're going to choose, but I think Pagodas.
Yeah, I'm seeing it in chat. Teams really do seem to like that map, especially if they do run Chemist and Elf, generally speaking. Of course, that's not necessarily a map that's going to be bad for Red Team, just one that might be a bit stronger for Blue Team and allow them some more creative angles for the offense.
So yeah, just waiting on that. Anything that you picked up during that match that maybe the Night Wolves can improve on to hopefully not lose the match in 2 maps?
Yeah, so I do think their defense was actually not the biggest problem in this particular game. They were just really struggling to get past mid. And I think that just comes down to adjusting the offense and maybe putting roaming a little further out on the map and just being ready to contest Red's offense before they get anywhere near the flag room. Playing passive on a map like Forest of Rivals especially will get you hurt, and you generally want to be roaming out far on Pagodas 3 as well, especially with where the spawn is.
Yeah, well, Foucault said in chat there saying he'd go Slate is actually quite an interesting choice, and maybe won't be a bad one for them. I mean, Kev can flex onto some offense classes for them, and Brandino's Archer won't be as effective on that. So, yeah, there it is. Slate 1 from Insanity.
Interesting. So this is going to be a map that wasn't in the 2020 tournament pool and has some very odd quirks to its gameplay. I'm personally not a fan of it, although I do think, in fairness, that it probably is a better pick for the Night Wolves than Park Life 1, which is also a map where archers tend to struggle. The reason for that being that Park Life 1 almost perfectly suits Pedro's style of chemist gameplay, where it goes for individual steals and tries to make it across the map on his health pool alone. Still, there's some very strong routes for the offense here on Slate, so I think it's worth paying attention to them. The one that I do want Mike to highlight here on stream is the tunnel just to the left side, the spawn side, compared to the flag room. I'm here looking at it on red. That then immediately goes directly out to mid.
Yeah, it's definitely something that a lot of offensive players don't even think about. Like their immediate instinct is to go as far away from spawn as they can. So I think it'll be interesting to see who decides to run that way.
Yeah, and this is also the reason why the map is very difficult for Archer to play on, because if someone goes through this tunnel, especially as a chemist, especially as something along those lines, then they're really going to be able to get past, to get to the middle of the map without having any Archer pressure on, with, recovery not having a lot of good angles to cut them off. Obviously, if you do get caught in the sides of the tunnel, it could be dangerous, but otherwise, it's a very strong route for the offense, and I think this is partly why I don't like the map, because it renders everything else obsolete for the offense for the most part.
Yeah, like as an offensive person, like it's pretty overpowered really to be able to just take that way and avoid a lot of these kind of strong recovery classes. But hey, we need some good offensive maps in the tournament as well. So it'll be interesting to see how we go.
Of course, the route across mid is also quite strong here. It's been opened up a bit relative to what Slate Original was as well. You can either take sponges up to the top of mid and run across the top, or you can go through some more direct openings on the low ground and make it through. There's a lot of vertical options here in the way of sponges that can make it, easier to throw off the recovery if you are able to juke them out, maybe sacrifice a little bit of your health pool to do so. And obviously not that big of a concern for something like Chemist or Soldier when it comes to the verticality here. So generally, I think it's fair to say that, with all of the options on this map, offense does have a lot of routes that they can use to just exploit the way things work on here. Of course, none of that matters, though, if you can't make it into or out of the flag room.
Yeah.
And the flag room, as it's worth noting, is sunk down into the ground. It's got staircase entrances on the sides that you can get caught on. Despite how open it is, it may actually be the most defensible position on the map. Now, we've got the timer going, so what do you think will be the scoreline here, Pat?
Well, I feel like this almost favors Choowie Force's offense here, but will definitely give them a bit of a kick for their defense. So I think Choowie Force, after Pedro's good chemist steals on the last map, will probably be quite prominent in this offense. And yeah, I can see maybe a 2-1 or a 3-1, but CMS predictions always pretty much wrong. So we'll see how we go.
Wait, that's strange. Unless I'm mistaken, red side just came out of the blue spawn. Colors are inverted on this map. I think we may have to actually halt things here, although I'm not sure what the protocol for that is, because I've never seen this bug before.
I think we can change the colors over through some world edit stuff, but that will be up to some mods and some S mods to potentially do.
All right.
But yeah,
well,
it's still playable.
It is still playable, so let's see how things work on here. Pedro and Ducksfan have made it into the flag room, and Pedro distracted the defense quite nicely to allow Ducks to steal. Ducks, of course, a buff soldier on here, and already looking to go up to the top of the map here. Looks like he's going for a back corner sponge here that will take him out to mid. This is a position that I don't consider to be quite as strong as the entrance on low ground, but it is still quite strong if you don't know about it. And Dux nearly made it past mid, although a freeze from Kev will do quite nicely here to slow him down. Kev swapping off of the Archer, interestingly, to go Mage here instead. Obviously, both teams aware of how much Archer can struggle here on this map, although Red Team has allowed Brandino to play that role instead. Looks like Dux is going to go onto this lower sponge. It's quite a strong sponge for the offense as well to reach the flag room, and just like that, it's a 1-0 lead. However, because of all the focus there in terms of supporting the flag holder, it looks like we're going to see Danimals escape the flag room. He does get a frenzy off, but Nin picks up the flag here. Not a lot of support left, though, and he will go down to DDJ. That may have been one of the better steals we've seen from Nightwolves so far this game, though.
Yeah, already interesting changes. I think Kev moving on to Mage is quite important. We'll be able to help delay the offense from getting out and help some recovery catch up.
Now we will see the Animals take a lot of damage to Obi there. Obi, of course, getting a lot of work done here in this tunnel. Kavivi now also catching the medic as well. Looks like the Animals tried to go for the flag there, but will instead get frenzied by Choowie and will go down. Interestingly, neither team really using that tunnel except to speed up the cap. So,
yeah, I think Dux is very aware of it. It was just not in his route. Maybe he was just being forced out to the back, so he decided to go that way rather than try to get into that spawn tunnel.
Well, of course, he's also a soldier, so taking advantage of the verticality at mid is probably a better bet for him, actually, than running down a long and narrow tunnel. Chemists might look at that differently. Now, we do have a steal from Fella on the other side. Fella is actually out and able to make it up to the high ground. There is an Archer and a Ninja there, as well as Inpost closing in quite soon. Inpost does get the kill and the recovery, and Fella will go down. Again, though, it's interesting to see that already we're seeing some better steals, I think it's fair to say, for the Nightwolves here.
Yeah, I think I was expecting Kev to jump onto off and give them some extra pressure, but it does seem to be working out quite well, being able to avoid Brandino on this map.
All right, now here we go. Pedro going up top middle on Chemist. This is the route that was available to him, and he's already ahead of most of the recovery. We'll decide to veer off to the side, though, as the Ninjas are hunting him down. Doesn't have a lot of support here, and will drop. Now, it's a little bit of a race to see who makes it to the flag room here first. Looks like DuxFan is going to be ahead of the Pyro, but instead turns around and resets. On the other side of things, we do have a steal from Nin. Nin has the flag, as Medic and is still very much on the other team's side. We'll go down to DTJ and Kavivi. But definitely a more even game so far.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing Nightwolves get some. Like, these steals are already getting pretty good. I'm waiting to see one that gets all the way across the map. Actually,
Alrighty, so no, go ahead.
Sorry, I just spotted F on Brown on Engineer defense instead of Assassin.
Yeah, my oh my.
Another strange class that not many people will be used to, but 4 hearts, 2 damage TNT is quite strong. But we do see DuxFan with a steal, still in the flag room, getting knocked around by Haha, gets lost and goes down to the Ninja.
Yeah, Pedro does have 2 Ninjas on him here, but he's actually gotten out of the flag room as well. G. Henry and Kev are closing in on him, so I don't think he's going to get very far. But the backup steal potential here for the side of Choowie Force is quite strong. Now, we do have a steal on the other side from Snowbreak. Snowbreak being chased by a lot of Reds roaming, but also quite well out of the flag room. I think it's possible he doesn't know about that corner sponge up top, which would allow him to circumvent the roaming defense by running into the back corner. But we do have a backup steal here from Danimals. Danimals now taking the obnoxious tunnel right towards mid. Looks like he's going to be jumping up. He will have one player in the way of him here. It's going to be DTJ, but also has support from Snowbreak. DTJ, however, able to slow him down for long enough to allow the frenzy there from Choowie. There is a subsequent backup steal from Fella, however. Fella may be running out towards the back here, may be aware of this back corner sponge now. Multiple players chasing him, but they're going to have a hard time getting in front of him. Now they're veering off to run back to the middle of the map to try and get in front of Fella, but he's actually just going to be able to climb up this wall. 2 Ninjas chasing him as well as the Assassin. He sees Diana, but drops right into her and goes down. Pedro has a steal on the other side. Pedro already at mid on Chemist with medic support. Looks like he's just going to drop down to this sponge, make it right back over to the flag room, and we're going to have a 2-0 lead for Choowie Force after some very promising steals from the Nightwolves just don't work out. However, Danimals is able to prolong this a little further. Unfortunately, stuck in a bit of a corner there. Looks like Versions is trying to get some damage off into Pedro, but won't be able to do enough. And there we have the 2-0.
There's a lot that happened in that play. Definitely, when Fellow got out there, we saw Ducks fan and some of the other offense come in and notify that he had actually got quite far out, so they needed to help with recovery, which then leads to them recovering and capping.
Now we do have Snowbreak try to make it in the flag room there. It does go down to damage. Nin is still alive and will get a steal, but with all the ninjas still right there, he's not going to make it very far. And, I mean, we're still seeing some of the same struggles here from the side of the Nightwolves, even if they're not as pronounced on this map. Spades is trying to make it out the back of the map as Heavy being pressured by Mackie, who's the defense medic, but I think we do still have the Pyro alive here. Inpost is actually roaming up to clear out some of the recovery, but will be taken down by the Pyro she was trying to get after. Looks like Spades is going to try and make it over to the corner sponge. Instead, it's going to pass to Pedro. We'll see if Mackie webs the sponge, but no. Looks like he's going to make it out to mid, but G. Henry was already waiting right there, having doubled back. The sponge is resulting in some interesting mind games here. Now, Versions is chasing Pedro, but Pedro has made it up over to the side near his spawn. Not a lot of roaming directly on him. G. Henry still alive and still, I believe, with Frenzy. Danimals goes down on the other side after trying to steal, but with Pedro so close to his team's flag, it's going to take a miracle to recover on him here. Looks like G. Henry is trying to close the distance, but I don't think he's going to be able to make it. And in about 8 minutes into this second map, we're most likely going to see a win for Choowie Force. Nin does get a steal, though, and he's not being chased. Looks like the ninjas are finally catching up to him, knocking him back. Nin's quite low already, will go down, and that is going to be GG, a 5-0, 3-0 win for Choowie Force.
Very nicely done for Choowie Force there. And good competition coming in from Nightwolves, and good delays on a couple of those last captures, but unfortunately didn't pull them off.
So definitely a strong game there from Choowie Force. Definitely a lot to work on for Nightwolves. Who would you say was the MVP for that match?
Yeah, I think Pedro is definitely the notable player in here, has got a lot of steals, but their offense in general did an incredible job. I mean, Ducks fan and Spades had a lot of good support, and Lou catching up with the medic, great offensive plays there from Choowie Force, as well as defense, obviously, but offense is really the thing that wins you the game in the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do think Pedro is a fairly safe bet on here, especially considering that Brandino's impact on this second map was a little bit muted. Just an unfortunate circumstance of map design here.
Yeah, so I guess Pedro for player of the game. But well done. I guess that closes that out for us. So Choowie Force winning 5-0, 3-0. And yeah, thank you for joining us. Thank you, Bosque. Thank you, Mike. Thank you to our array of refs and moderators in the spectator chat and everybody joining us. And we'll see you in the next one, which will be tomorrow, which I believe is the Trendsetters versus Niski's team, which is Boys Locker Room. So that should be an interesting match, which Mr. Bosque will be participating in.
Yes, of course. It's going to be a very interesting match. We've heard a lot about Boys Locker Room, and it'll be interesting to see if they're living up to their own hype. That matchup is going to be at 4 p.m. tomorrow. It'll be a 10v10 match, just like this one. And we're excited to see how it goes. So be sure to tune in for the match. You'll get an exciting set of commentators streaming, I'm sure. And hope to see you then.
Yes, all right. Farewell all, and GG's.